Right then, let's move on from XRP. We've had our fun with that for the minute. Not to say that it's not finished, but you know, I make videos every day on that. Let's move on to something different, shall we? Let's look at SXP. Basically, we don't have a great deal to go by on a chart like this. We've gone to the 4-hourly, and what it looks as though is, you don't need me to tell you this, it looks as though we're bouncing, but that's a bounce at the bottom of a Bollinger Band, and unfortunately we're stuck beneath all major moving averages. When we go to a daily though, something interesting is happening on a daily. You know how I like to ride the 10 EMA. It would appear that we didn't bounce on it, but we're being brought back above it. So for me, anything above the 10 EMA on a daily has every chance of continuing to the up. The rest of these indicators don't mean anything really when you're looking at it on here. However, when we look at the money flow index, we were reading quite high, but it wasn't the highest anything's ever been in its life. I mean, things have gone a lot higher than that, but this definitely FOMO'd, I'd say. And judging by the way that this coin is being promoted, and sort of the vibe that is going along with this, is it's really got nothing to do with the TA or any kind of chart formation at all. You can do small reads on it, but really it's been brought to this height off the back of fundamentals. And if you think about it, I mean, what was this not long ago? I mean, it was down in the pence, wasn't it? Really, in the low cents. So it even by the time it got to this level here, I mean, it had already gone up 10x or more. And so for it to then just do this big bold move from what's the lowest we got back here, down here, all the way up to here, so that's a 3x again. I mean, it has to come down. I mean, it just has to come down. There will be some lucky people all the way back here who essentially have become whales and looking to take some profit, and I don't blame them, because it's blown its top off, and there's a lot of coins like this that have blown their tops off. The problem I've got with a chart like this is that, unlike Link, which also blew its top off, and there's a lot of other coins blowing their tops off, but Link especially, for a large cap coin, that just went berserk. It went really high. The thing is, with Link, you've got a long chart history to look at, whereas with this you really don't. So the first thing I would say is that this is the first opportunity for a bounce. Is it going to be an anemic bounce? Is it going to bounce and go back to its all-time high and continue with new all-time highs? I don't know. I'm not convinced of that straight away. I mean, first of all, the chart is good. There's no question about it, but it's very, very young. So let's go down to a smaller time frame to see what's going on the 4-hourly. So as we've already seen, we're beneath the sort of all major moving averages on this time frame. We're coming down beneath the 0 point here, but it looks as though we might have a little bit of energy to curl back up again, which means that we could bounce from this level. If we did bounce, we might reach $4 again. That's all I've really got to it. If we were to break up above these levels here, because look at the Bollinger Band. The center of the Bollinger Band is now facing down. If you know much about the way the things trade, whichever side of the Bollinger Band you're on, you're 65% more likely to stay within there, so the odds are in the favour of it continuing to be rejected from the centre. That's statistically accurate, but 65% isn't massively in your favour, but it is in your favour if statistically. So it's more likely to get rejected from the centre, which is only $3.50, and then continue with a downtrend until further notice. What I would say, however, is that we had a nice bounce here. We've got a nice bounce here. Remember, this is just a 4-hourly chart. This is small-term time frames, but it looks as though a lot of profit is being taken. Let's go to a 1-hourly to see what's going on with the 1-hourly. Unfortunately, the 1-hourly makes it look worse than the 4-hourly did. All major moving averages above us. Looks as though we're being rejected from almost all of them when we come up to test them. Each one of these moving averages on an hourly is a resistance. But again, I'm not saying that this is going to go down into the depths of hell. It's not. It's definitely more likely to continue with a downtrend. But when you're talking about a downtrend on a coin like this, a downtrend could break up to this level here. So from the very price that we are at this very second, $3.20, even to the top of that center of that Bollinger Band, that's near enough 10% move. All right, so that is one of those sort of moves that people would love to catch anyway, and sometimes wait months, stuck in a dead coin trying to catch. So even this little bounce here could offer you 10%. if we were lucky enough to bounce higher than that, it's a 25% to the top of that Bollinger Band. I think that's more unlikely. It looks as though it wants to be rejected, but it's just because we're now in this part of the Bollinger Band. But a bounce to me looks as though it wants to take place. I don't think we're likely to come down any further, but if we did, it would be $2.45. That's where it would come down to at this present moment, and every day it will be a little bit higher, because still we have, and again, judging by the Bollinger Bands, remember I said 65% more likely to stay within whichever side of the Bollinger Band that you're in. We're still in the top area of the Bollinger Band on the daily, so that would mean that the first opportunity for it, it's not likely to. I mean, it's certainly not going to come down here. You don't need me to tell you that, do you? I mean, it's just not going to happen. But I mean, it could happen, but it's not really going to happen, is it? So is if it did break down beneath this level here of around exactly where it is right now, or about $3.12. Then yeah, the centre of the Bollinger Band would be a nice place to take that, because it's not certain, nothing's certain, but it's more than likely going to bounce from here. No one really has access to a great deal of chart information for, especially, I mean, it's older than it is on Binance. I mean, you can look at the Binance chart, you can go back and look at other charts, because it's been around for a little bit longer than this. But realistically, this is the price action that really means something now. We've moved into another phase completely, so you might as well just look at this. So yeah, if it were to break down beneath the 10 EMA, which is more or less where we are right now, a little bit lower, $3.13, then yeah, we could find ourselves resting and bouncing on the bottom of the Bollinger Band. That would take a dump from Bitcoin, or maybe even a pump from Bitcoin. Who knows how this reacts to Bitcoin? But if we did come down there, that would be a nice place to be buying it from, I would say. So let's just have a look at Bitcoin to see what's going on with that, shall we? Because we need to understand Bitcoin to understand everything else. So Bitcoin has broken out of its resistance area, this blue box area, and this goes back quite a while. It was relevant around these levels, and also it's broken, and it's not closed yet, but it looks pretty good. And it's broken out of this, which is the big one. And this is where we get rejected and supported, rejected, and supported, rejected, and hopefully supported. We might not even come down to test this trend line, not yet anyway. I mean, it continues to go up. It's been going up for about over 3 years. So this trend line I would definitely put on your charts, because it's likely to be relevant maybe for a very long time, and for the moment it's proved itself very well. We've seen how many times it's been supported and rejected, and now we've broken above it, so we can say now that this could be now the start of something beautiful. But we do have another blue box. Oh, these blue boxes are everywhere, and this one is another resistance box. We come in to test it today and reject it out of it. That's fine. The fact that we're above this line is the important thing. We're going to find resistances all the way up in different areas, but we've got a few in this area because these are the peaks that we had last year, and now it would appear that we've got another trend line here where we're rejected, and then flew up from. You can see why these trend lines mean a lot to me. They look very basic and simple, but they're not. I mean, they are basic and simple, but they mean a great deal. Breaking above here was the first indicator of a possible bull market starting, because we've been in consolidation all this time. This is the consolidation still from the $20,000. I know there's been big moves, but still consolidation. We've not surpassed our all-time high, not like a lot of coins already have. We haven't. Gold has surpassed its all-time high. The Nasdaq has surpassed its all-time high. Bitcoin is 65. Well, it's about 40% down from its all-time high now. It's not surpassed its all-time high. It's not even came close to its all-time high. So this was a consolidation. We rejected, and broke out. We saw this on a few coins. We saw this on XRP was a good example where this happened. We caused a big rally. So we caused a big rally and then got rejected on this trend line. So again, very simple trend lines. This one's not relevant anymore, but I keep it in there for fun. But this one is still and will probably continue to be relevant maybe for years. So we'll keep that one in there. So we broke up from that one. Lovely, beautiful. And then we've now closed. We did close up above there yesterday. It was a pretty silly little close, but it counted. and this is one of those things. If you look back at my videos where I said, any close above here, above this trend line, I would be more in favour of the bulls, and clearly that worked out for me, and maybe any of you lot that watched it. So we took longs, and we took longs on not just this but XRP too, and we've really taken it to the bank today. So now we're being rejected from this level here, that's fine. Breaking above here, breaking above the 12,545. There's only these sort of wicks around this level, around 13,100 to be aware of, before it will surpass last year's high. And then we've got bigger levels up around these levels here, 16 to 17,000, and then the all-time high of 20,000. So this is the deal with Bitcoin. So it was a big, nice move today. We're getting rejected here. That's fine. I would even be happy with us coming down to test this trend line as a support. That's happened many times. That's fine. Like I say, big bold move up here, came down, nice bounces from it, very nice bounces from it. Obviously rejected from other trend lines that I've got. I love my trend lines here, but yeah, bounce, and then break. So I wouldn't be, if we ever came down to test this trend line, I would be very, very happy in going a reasonably large, and for me a large leveraged long is like 5x. That's as much as I can go. I don't go any higher than that, but that would be my take on it, because it's been that trusty for such a long period of time. I imagine it's going to be good to go. Anyway, this is supposed to be about SXP, so I'm sorry about the boring interlude there for about Bitcoin, but you've got to understand, you've got to know where it's going to go. At the moment we're being rejected from this level, and we may come down to test this blue box or this trend line. Doesn't mean it's going to happen today, but it could happen, and we don't really know how SXP reacts to Bitcoin, but it doesn't. This is just a coincidence that it goes down on a day that Bitcoin goes up, because there's a lot of people taking profit off what I would consider to be a reasonably parabolic move here, to be honest. It's certainly parabolic if we had a larger chart history, when we were right back down to 50 cent, 18 cent on some exchanges only a few months back. So profit taking, that's fine. First opportunity for a bounce would be basically now. Second opportunity would be around about $2.50. And I don't think this is going to die. I think it will bounce. I think there's too much interest in it, too much fundamental basis for it to continue to go up. If it did drop out the sky and completely crash and go down into nothingness, I don't think it would be allowed to do that. There's too many big people sort of behind this as a project. I don't think it would be allowed to die. I think unfortunately for them it's risen too fast too quickly, and now maybe people will be getting a little bit worried and scared. But think about it, most of you, or most of the people on my Telegram, have been buying it down at these levels, so I'm pretty sure if they're still holding it, they'll be quite happy, and they should be reassured to know that the lowest I would expect it to go is around about $2.50. But again, I'm not a financial advisor, so none of this is financial advice. But that's how I see it, and like I say, I think we're in for another anemic bounce, which is, again, when I say anemic in the sense of SXP, is about 10% from where we are right now. Judging by the 4 hourly is where I got that from, and that's just to the top of the Bollinger Band. But I still think we're going to likely downtrend for a little bit, even though we'll have a 10% there. If we break up above $3.50, then yeah, we could find our way all the way up to $4 again, no problem. Well, it's still relatively early days, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. If I were anybody, I would trade this on the 4 hourly, because this would be the deal breaker, breaking above here and this Bollinger Band here, and being supported above the centre of the 4 hour Bollinger Band should signify an uptrend which should be sustained, at least for a short period of time, with some decent profits. Right, I'll leave it with you there. Thank you for watching. Join the channel, Telegram. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube, like, share, subscribe, all of that sort of stuff, and I hope you have a nice evening. Take it easy.